Welcome to the Geek Easy Politics. Let's open a beverage of your choice. Because today, in honor of picking up my Friday collection by Ed Brubaker, the deluxe edition, I should say, I am going to do a video on my top 5 Ed Brubaker books that I have read. I think I've read most of them. I think most of them. I did get the trade of Iron Fist, but I didn't like it, so I got rid of it. It's probably the only thing of his that I read that I didn't like. But I have just, as far as I know, just about everything else. And I want to do a top 5 list of the books of his that I've read, starting with number 5. Now, number 5 would be Daredevil. That would be his run altogether. So that'd be omnibus. I'm only going to call omnibus 1, but omnibus 1 and 2, because he had, it's just an incredible run. It picks up right where Mark Waid left off, with Matt Murdock in jail, and everybody knows he is Daredevil, and he wants to sit here and to survive being in there and convince people that he's not Daredevil, because for some reason he revealed it, or it got revealed, and he's trying to keep it from all these people that he put in there from kicking his ass or killing him. And as far as I remember, I think the Kingpin might have been in there, or someone. But and then to convince everybody that it's not him, and then getting back out afterwards and clearing his name and getting things back on track. This is one of Brubaker's forte. He does a more grounded type of stuff, and it's all underworld criminal type stuff. He does more mystery type things as opposed to the spectacular type of stuff. And that's where these characters shine, is when they do that. Which will also lead us to the number 4. Number 4 on my list, which would be Bruce Wayne, Fugitive Murderer. You have Bruce Wayne convicted, or he is found or framed for killing, I think this may have been the Silver State Cloud. I really should have checked before I did this, but he is found over a body, and everyone seems to think that he is the murderer, and everything is pointing towards him. I mean, it seems pretty obvious, and then when people start investigating, it's just looking more and more and more like him. So, and he gets stuck in jail. So you have, at first, the Bat family and everybody trying to investigate who it was, because they all know it wasn't him, and how they did it. And then once Bruce escapes, hence the fugitive part, him becoming Batman permanently, or at least one of the times where he gives up the Bruce Wayne identity and becomes Batman. He's also joining in investigating who set him up and is actually working against the Bat family because for some reason he doesn't want their help. Like I said, it's this is the type of the criminal, mystery, underground type stuff is his forte. That's Brubaker's forte. So then we're going to go on to number 3, which would be, it's not an omnibus, but they're just a series of graphic novels called Reckless. And this is how I got introduced to Brubaker. I picked up Reckless number 1 and just was like, holy shit, this is incredible. And just started getting as much of his stuff as I could, and I loved it. Now, what you have here is this is really kind of a cool character. His name is Ethan Reckless. He is a kind of a private investigator, but not a private investigator. He's just this weird dude with this really kind of, I think he used to be a cop, been in the army, who is somehow managed to buy a movie theater. This, for those of us who are older, there used to be just single movie theaters, one screen, this old type of thing. You come in, and they're really nice. And he bought it, and it's his. I don't think he really opens it. If I remember correctly, he doesn't really open it to the public. It's just him. He has all these movies. He sits in and watches it, and he has this assistant who kind of takes his messages for him. He had help once, and so she does. Takes messages, and she's says when he needs money, he takes one of these jobs because he does that and he likes just going out surfing. So when he needs money, he helps out these people and does these really odd cases that no one else will do, and it usually leads to all sorts of trouble. And they're just classic Brubaker, really kind of twisted, really weird twists to the stories. They're just, you have no idea where they're going to go, and it's just so fun. And there's 5 or 6 of them, and he's taken a break from doing them to do other stories, and he said he will get back to them. But this is the classic Brubaker Phillips connection, where Brubaker does the writing and Phillips does the art, and they're just so fun. They're kind of quick reads. They're graphic novel length, and as far as I know, they don't have an omnibus that collects them all, but they're only $20-$30 a pop, and well worth the read. Okay. Number 2 is the last of the mainstream comics, stories that he has, and this would be Sleeper. Okay, It is set in the Wildstorm universe, which is after it has been, I think, incorporated into DC. Jim Lee Soul had the Wildstorm, and where he had Wildcats and all that stuff, and then he sold it to DC. And this takes place in that era. You have the character, Jesus Christ, what is the guy's name? Anyway, he works for a guy by the name of Lynch, who was introduced in the Wildstorm universe, who is they're kind of like the ultra secret military organization, kind of wet works type of shit where they do really, 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 really dirty type of shit. Get military assets and have them go out and do stuff. And this guy, Lynch, is the head of it. And then you also have Grifter from Wildcats, who is one of my favorite characters ever. Cole Cash. This guy is not Cole, but the character, I should have looked this up. I thought I remember the guy's name, but I don't. The central character is a worked for Lynch to try and bring down a criminal mastermind by the name of Tao, who is a super being. He's one of the smartest people on the planet, who's always 800 steps above people, and one of his talents is to tell. He can tell if you are lying. So the sleeper in this is the guy who was sent in by Lynch to try and to work for Tao, but also stop him and bring him down. Get enough evidence to bring him down without getting killed, because a lot of people have done this, tried before, and not and got killed. And so then Lynch gets shot and gets put in a coma. So the character's wanting to get out because, I think he was set up. So the government is looking for this guy, thinking he's a murderer, and he's also trying to get Tao, and Tao is 98% certain that this guy's dirty and working against him. So he's trying to navigate through this, get his job done, and survive. And it is really intense. It's a pretty thick. It was in single issues, I think, and it's a pretty thick book. It's done by DC, and so I already said that before. And it's just vastly underrated. I think it's obviously one of his best works, since I put it at number 2. But I really think you should check this out, because it's Ed Brubaker. So you have the best of both worlds. You have kind of the murder, the criminal underworld type situation, but there's capes and cowls, but you don't have the normal everyday ones. It's not anything from the big ones, especially DC, even though it is in DC. You might get a couple of characters here and there that come across, but a lot of them are just the Wildstorm people. Okay, and then number one, I think everyone might know my top choice here, and that would be Criminal. Oh my god, those were just a masterpiece of writing. It is some of the best comic book writing ever done. I have, uh, I think, I think there's three or four of the deluxe editions. I have all of those, and I'm getting. There's Knives Out. I think it was a new one that just came out, and they're putting some a couple new floppies out for a new story that he's doing. Uh, it's just some of the best comic book writing ever done. And if you haven't read it, oh my god, check it out. It doesn't it doesn't fit, center around one character. There's a few characters that are all connected somehow, and like he'll tell one set of stories that some of these characters, another character will show up, and then you tell his story, and that's connected somehow, and it's just very elaborate and intricately done stories, and they're just dark and very well done. But then they have a couple in there that are just like little filler stories that are off to, in the world but not. And a couple of those are my favorites. One of them is Something Summer, and it's about a guy. He's a young writer, and it is he's assigned. He's working at a comic convention, and it is his job to kind of, I don't want to say a wrangle, but he's assigned to work with this older writer, and it's kind of obviously kind of a stand-in for like a Kirby type character who is one of the greats in the industry, who is near the end of his career / life, and very bitter and downtrodden over the way that he'd been treated by the industry over the years, legitimately, and it is this character's job to keep him on track and keep him say, okay, you have to show up for this panel at this time, you have to do this, and he's sitting there learning about what this guy had happened to this guy, and trying to get him to do his job and get him to where he needed to go. And it's kind of a statement on, I guess, the way they treated some of the older people in the industry. It's probably on his own from Brubaker's experiences. And then there's also another really kind of a short story about a dude. He's married, or he goes and he picks up this chick at a bar, and goes and has a one night stand, and it doesn't go well. It was just I don't want to go any farther than that, because it would give away what happens in there, and it's just kind of fucked up. Just really kind of fun. I was sitting there going, damn. Yeah, that's why you don't do that type of stuff. But okay, but that is my list of my top 5 favorite Brubaker stories. Because Criminal is, even though there's the 3 or 4 of them, that's kind of one story. It's one world, and then Well, none of the omnibuses, I consider that a story. That is my list, and I'd like to know what everyone else thinks as to whether if you agree with my list or not, and if you don't, let me know down below what you think. All right, so like, subscribe, possibly share. Most of all, enjoy your Brubaker stories.